So it's 2021 and cancel culture is rearing its head again. Now, before you click out of this video, just hear me out. I'm not going to try to convince people who already believe cancel culture is bad. I'm going to try to convince people who think cancel culture is good that it is bad. So, there are some things that legitimately need to be canceled. Harvey Weinstein is a great example. Now, why did he need to be canceled? Because he was doing bad stuff and his position of power, producing movies, enabled him to do that. So, good on everyone for calling him out. So, there's an old saying, if you kill the spider to save the butterfly, you become a spider yourself. Now, what exactly does this mean? Well, let's look back at history. So, in its infancy, Christianity was a persecuted religion. And then Rome became Christian. And so there was a sort of tentative peace. But then Constantine, he was a Christian. And then it went from Christians being persecuted for their faith to sort of a peace. And then they were persecuting in the name of, they became the persecutors. And then let's jump forward to the Soviet Union. There was a legit need, and I think that's why the Soviet Union came about. The Russian peasants weren't being treated well by the czars, and so that's how the Soviet Union came about. Only thing is, they became a worse persecutor than the czars themselves. Now, as some memes have shown, Christians can be just as much cancel culture, and they're right. I lived in the 90s, and so it's funny, what the evangelical right back then would do is they would say something was of the devil, Pokemon, Harry Potter. They would try to cancel it for that. But now stuff is problematic. Now, one of the things that I think is different between the sort of religious cancel culture then versus the seemingly secular cancel culture now is this. The thing about Christianity and its cancel culture was there was a document and authority that they could appeal to see, was this sort of zealousy, this need to snuff something out, really necessary, God-breathed, and divine? And a lot of people came to the conclusion that no, Pokemon's fine, Harry Potter is fine, and they moved on with their lives. With this sort of modern secular cancel culture, there doesn't seem to be a place check to show when things need to level out. And it's important that there is a mechanism to indicate that, okay, things have leveled out, and now we need to sort of keep a balance. Now you might ask, why is balance important? Well, as I mentioned earlier, so Christians being persecuted by the Roman Empire, that was not a good thing. Nero, he stuck them on pikes and lit them on fire to light his garden. They were fed to lions, tons of stuff. And like I said, there was something within Christianity that was a failsafe that eventually people were like, okay, these things aren't good. with this new kind of cancel culture, I don't see that mechanism there. And it seems as though we're talking about, it seems the fear now is there's a powerful entity that oppresses and keeps people down, that doesn't take into consideration the needs of the persecuted, the underrepresented, call it white privilege, whatever, the patriarchy. So there's a concern here that that is the problem. Now, what I think needs to be addressed is there's a real danger that the domineering villainous factor might switch from one thing into another, and we'd just be back where we started. So I guess my question to people who do believe in cancel culture is, where do we know when we've reached the proper balance? You know? And also, here's another aspect of there not being that mechanism to show we've got balance. Within any faction, it seems that, you know, there's no point really in being better than the enemy. That's kind of a given, but you don't want to just be better than the enemy. Like, you want to be the best of the best. There's sort of lay people in a group, and then there's the very, like, oh, I'm the holiest of holy. You know, the sort of Ned Flanders type. And it always compounds, like, it very quickly turns into a pissing contest. And I think with the current brand of sort of secular cancel culture, it's just going to keep escalating, and it doesn't seem as though there's an end in sight. The only end in sight I see would be people who see the problem of ever escalating cancel culture, and they just say, I've had enough of this nonsense. And then be like, dude, come on. It's not such a bad thing. So I don't know what a balanced mechanism would look like, but it's important to figure out. If you want all these problems to be addressed and taken seriously, you've got to think about it.